All right. My name is Sinette Wright. I am a senior in high school, and after high school, I plan to attend UNC Charlotte, studying international business on the marketing level, minoring in public relations.
My name is Juwan. I'm a senior at the high school. I'm going to work civil executive.
My name is Wayne. I'm a senior, and I'm going to see for 2 years. I'm transferring to Wake Forest for computer science.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
My name is William. I'm a senior, and I plan on going to A&T Wake Forest for broadcasting and journalism.
Thank you.
My name is Marissa. I'm a senior, and after college, I plan to study the medical field.
My name is Jaquan. I'm a senior, and I plan to go to college. I don't know where yet, as sociology.
Thank you. All right, team one, would you please provide us with your opening statement?
Our opening statement, we get the family unit. My perspective, I was lucky enough to have both parents, but where I'm from, every other family, either the father's not dead or he's dead or in jail. And my cousins, all my cousins, only one of them has a father in his life, on my dad's side and my mom's side. And you know, a lot of them, they did turn to gangs, sell drugs, but none of them used. But for me seeing that, I was lucky enough to not go to that life. Or, cause I seen my dad, he played football at college, but after he had my brother at 17, my mom was 17. And then he had to do what he had to do, but it was lucky enough for me that I had both, instead of just going out there and either gang banging or selling dope. So, I'm just lucky.
Thank you. All right, your opening statement?
All right. How many times have we seen an orphan child left alone because their parents are strung out on drugs? Or even a father being put in jail every day, leaving a child to fend for himself? 1 million. 1 million, can y'all guess what that number is? That is the number of black men in jail out of 2.3 million. 1 million African American men is in jail. So let's just calculate that. 1 million children, give or take, is left without a father. And if you want to be honest, drugs and gun violence is the #1 incriminator for African American men. Drug abuse and high crime affect the constant dynamic of the African American community. Because white people decided to flight, white people decided to leave the community in the mid-20s, that made prosperity, which also involved drugs, come into the African American community even harder.
Thank you. Are you gonna, can you get on that side? You can move around. All right.
You can pause.
Okay. All right, team one, please present your argument. You have 2 minutes.
My first argument is how does having children out of wedlock affect the African American community? A lot of my family, they was born and they weren't married, and the father went on, did what he had to do. So 72% of the children born out of wedlock is males, but also affects the females. I can't come from my perspective. The males, I feel like it's harder, but then it's not, because it affects the female too. I don't have no sisters, I got brothers, and most of my cousins is males. So seeing that, it was, I had 6 cousins this year died from gun violence. And a lot of them, they reached the age of 21. One was 21, it was his birthday when he died. So having that happen, it was hard for me because he was like a brother. And my dad, he took 2 of my cousins in because they didn't have a father. He wanted to show them what a father was like that so they could have that. But it was hard, so. And I hate talking about it, but I like to express what I feel, so that's my first argument.
Our argument.
Wait, y'all.
Oh, I thought
It's
we
all-
was
No, y'all do y'all whole argument in 2 minutes and then they go.
All three of them? In 2 minutes?
The second argument is, how does absent father, Well, how does absent fathers affect African American community? I said, in fathers' absence, homes, mothers tendency to rely on and pressure their daughters foster relatively to more masculine girls, which means they ain't got no dad. No, which means they ain't got no dad. I don't know.
Okay, so you said that they both
I did.
kind of play a role, both of the sides of the argument, but family structure is more important because your family shapes who you are and your attitude. So if you don't have a family to support you, then you result to getting to feel the attention and the love that you're supposed to feel from your family.
Thank you. Okay, at this time I have team 1. You're allowed to ask team 2 questions.
Wait, no.
Oh no, you're team 2, right? So argument, yes, it's your argument.
Alright. Our first argument is that the biggest crime in the U.S. criminal justice system is race-based institutions where African Americans are targeted and punished more aggressively than white people. Supporting our evidence for argument 1 is that I put race is so prominent in the study that whites with criminal records actually receive better treatment than blacks without criminal records. African Americans now constitute nearly 1 million of the total 2.3 million incarcerated population.
Okay, this is an argument too, but this is an argument that I personally did. In the business of white flight, I know the last time, white flight wasn't really touched on, it was really just family and drugs, but I really want to emphasize on white flight because during segregation, the African Americans was kind of in the same community, or whites had their community, and in their segregation, the blacks came to the white communities. But 19 American cities in the United States out of the 50, over 50% of the population is African American. And why is that? If we're supposed to be one country, we're supposed to be this country, and it's supposed to be intersegregated communities. When the whites left our community, it made it harder on us, which introduced drugs because we had no backbone, basically. The whites had all the education. The whites had the tools. The whites had the upper hand on us. And so when they left, which is white flight, it made us harder to prosper because we didn't have education, so we had to fend for ourselves. We had to get it out the mud, as we always say now. And that's where drugs come in. If a black man feels less than other man because he doesn't have the education to support his family, he can't get a job, he's gonna turn to drugs. And yes, he has a family, but because of the drugs, that's why the family structure is broken. That's why they don't have family. That's why, if you want to be honest, the black men leave the home because of the gun violence, the violence, the crime, the drugs, if you want to be honest with everybody. So I think that white fight has a big deal, and the drugs. Do you want to continue with argument 2?
My argument 2, basically adding on what Neeks and Ed said, typically we're stereotyped as what we say niggas, is because when we're walking down the street, usually white people always shut their doors, lock their doors and everything else. Personal experience, I was walking with one of my good friends. We were walking down the street and we see a white family, and as soon as they see us, they turn around and start walking away. And they thought we also been robbed or something like that. And drug wise, whenever teens, if you see a teen walking down the street, but preferably black, you'll see you'll usually see he has a blunt in his hand or he's about to go smoke. I think it's because of the parents. If you grow up with one or two, or if you live with whoever you live with, I believe it's the parents. It's the parents' fault because they don't care what their child is doing with their lives. Because if the child grows up to see that you're doing drugs, they're gonna follow in your footsteps because the child looks up to the parent. And because from the way I see it,
All right, at this time, team one can ask 2 questions to this team.
So, why do y'all feel that drugs are the biggest problem instead of not having that family structure where you bonding, you got that father figure, you got some of them don't have moms, but it's mainly fathers not like. So why do you feel drugs are the main reason?
I feel drugs are the main reason because most of, and we can even do a poll, most of the African American men are incarcerated, right? What is the main reason why they're incarcerated? Because of drugs or gun violence. So the reason that you're taking the father figure out of the household because of drugs and violence because he had to provide for his family because it goes back to he had no education. And the last team said it's a bloodline, you know, it continually grows. I mean, I'm kind of supporting him in this sense, but, you know, the father is strung out on drugs, did drugs, he went to jail. The son is strung out on drugs, he followed his father and went to jail, you know? So I think that's, I think drug and gun violence, white fight, is the biggest reason why the fathers aren't in their child's life. As I said, fathers are getting taken. I know multiple men that have got shot, donkey cartel. We can name them lists down because they were in gun violence, they were shot down, or they had drugs on them. That's why they're not there. They're either dead or in prison. So that's what you want to add on?
I can tell y'all from personal experience. Everybody in the class with me, bro. I smoke daily, bro. Like I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. Like I smoke almost every day. And then like in middle school, I seen a lot of niggas get shot over like just an L, just a blunt. Like drugs affect our community in so many ways. Like y'all just don't understand. Like I can tell you from personal experience. Like me being in and out the court system, like, they discriminate. Back to what I was saying about getting discriminated against in our own community. Like bro, they think we are a threat to our society, but we really not. Bro.
Sure, you want to add anything?
it's basically what he says. Like,
Can you 30 more seconds?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's basically what he says. Like, we're stereotyped. Like, it's like we're messing up our society and we're really not. Because there's like other African Americans that basically help what is what our society would be. But our generation is what people say is messing everything up. Mostly African American teens, because it's really like mostly like the parents. Like I said before, it's like if the child grows up young, seeing his parents do certain things, they're gonna pick up on it and they're gonna do it themselves. It's like monkey see, monkey do.
You see what you do, you're a product of your environment. That's
Thank
a
you.
wrap for it today.
Thank you. All right, team one, please rise for your closing statement.
Wait, we have to
Let me ask
answer
you
our
a question.
I'm sorry. Don't get me nervous. All right, question.
My question. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
I'll think the same.
Go ahead.
Do you feel like a son, preferably a son, who grows up without a father will always turn out bad, like grow up bad, and like be in gangs and violence and stuff like that?
That's a good
Because
question.
from personal experience, I grew up without a father over half my life, and I just met my stepfather back in '07, and I feel like he's like my real father because, like I said, I don't know my real father, and my real father's trying to get back in my life now, and I want nothing to do with him. So, over the 9 years I wasn't with the father, my mom was struggling, working 2 and 3 jobs to support her 2 kids.